Out of every team at this point on August 4th, I think they've probably done the most to improve on an already good roster. So we'll start with the first big piece of news, the one that catapults them into a contending position, Kyle Lowry. Now, a lot of people have mixed feelings about Kyle Lowry. Not so much now, at least they used to. While he was on the Raptors with DeMar, I think his reputation was a little bit of a shrinker in big games, but that all changed once the run he had with Kawhi happened, and he was a major part of that, along with Pascal. But Kawhi was the big dog. But ever since then, his value as just a point guard, a floor general, along with Chris Paul, has probably been towards the top of the NBA, meaning their stats don't show exactly what they do. That's pretty much the going description of a point guard is pretty much they don't have all the stats, but they translate to winning, which definitely makes sense. He translates to winning. He plays great defense, and he will always carry the ball at the floor and make open shots and make great passes, and more than anything, put people in the right position. Once someone needs a touch, he'll give them a touch, and when he knows he shouldn't have the ball and someone else should have the ball, their best player, Jimmy Butler, he'll go over to the corner and he'll be ready to shoot an open three. So it's a great move. I think it definitely puts him in a good position compared to everyone else. So next up is the Duncan Robinson move. 5 years, I think it was 90 million, and I believe he's 26, and this is his third year. I think out of Michigan, so 26. But he's not much of a defender. He's a pretty tall forward, and he's just there to shoot. So there's no problem with giving him the money. He deserves it. If you're generally known as a top five shooter, you deserve all the money, and he's shown he can do it in the playoffs. Unlike another player, which we'll get into when I talk about them, where they're great shooters, but maybe they don't have it when it comes to big moments, and that's why it's tough giving players that have never been in big spots in the playoffs big money. But Duncan has proved it. He has proven that he can hit a big shot when they need to hit a big shot. Now on to Jimmy Butler, their best player. He just signed the extension, so does that put it at a 5 year extension? Is he opting in and adding on 4 years? I think so. 44, 45, 48, 51 in his last year, in which he'll be, I don't know. I'm not gonna look it up. Probably like 37. That's a lot of money for a player who's not the most skilled but is very smart and is very physical and relies on drawing fouls and plays great defense. But that's just a lot of money. But they're not paying him for the fourth year when he's making 50. They're paying him for these next 2 years, because by then they hope that, I guess, Tyler Hero and Bam are really really good. But they had to do it because I'm sure Jimmy's smart. He understands the leverage that he were in, that they had to pay him because he's their best player and their best chance to contend. So it's gonna hamper them down the line, but right now they are in a great position. PJ Tucker for 2 years now. The Bucks didn't keep him. I'm assuming it was a salary cap issue. I don't have the numbers, but I think it was somewhere in the 10 to 15 range, 2 years, somewhere in there. And I understand not keeping a player because of money, especially one that's not a star player, but I think on the Bucks they might think Bobby Portis was such a big deal, especially emotionally, but PJ Tucker was so amazing when they had to play Kevin Durant. He was so amazing, but they won a championship, so they can look to downgrade now because they accomplished the ultimate goal. Victor Oladipo, someone who I was hoping would go to a different team and try to put himself in a better situation to get a big payday, and I think he just did a 1 year contract. I'm sure is only did a 1 year contract, hoping that he can really help them as they get to the finals. I'm sure that's why he did it. I think he's a big game player. I loved him ever since 2014. when he was picked second overall. And with all the players on this team, he's not going to have that big of a role besides defensively. And I mean, really, he's got to come off the bench. He has to. Because it'll be Kyle Lowry, Duncan, Jimmy Duncan. Who was PJ and Bam and Victor off the bench for Tyler Hero as a 1-2 punch. That's actually, I love that. That actually works out really well. And the other moves I have in front of me gave Vincent max stress, Deadman good pickup, and Morris. So all in all, that catapults them from a team in the bubble that definitely overachieved, but was still in the top five range in the Eastern Conference. And then last year, I think there was regression because Charlie Hero played like an A minus, and then last year he played like a C minus, just because it was it was his real first year as a rookie in the playoffs, and Tyler Hero's their third guy along with Duncan. So it's understandable because I think these coming playoffs, Kyle will probably play at some sort of B plus range. Bam, hopefully an A range. Jimmy, hopefully an A range. Victor, hopefully can provide them some sort of production off the bench and have 1 or 2 games where he just goes off for 30, which I think he can do. PJ Tucker will play consistently, and hopefully Tyler can be a consistent like 15 to 17 every night and shoot like 40%. That would be great. But anyway, those were the big moves for the big mover Miami Heat, and they are definitely scary.